some light on the girls' basketball here in Northeast Ohio because it's needed and it's well deserved by our girls. And they said yes. I said okay. I called, set it up, and here we are. So I appreciate all these guys and young lady for helping me out, not assisting me, but supporting me in this. And we're ready to go.
And definitely, I'd like to thank you all too, because I know, especially at this time of year, spare time is not at a premium. So
Absolutely.
I know you've got practices and things to run, scrimmages and all of that. So again, thanks for being here with us. Coach, let's start with you as we look to this season. Last year, 22-4, broke a lot of records as a team, did big things here for Brush High School. Started out 12-0, I believe, if I remember right, 14-1. Things were really rolling last year. Went into the playoffs with a 3-game win streak and then won your first 3 playoff games. So tell us a little bit about where you go from such a successful season. What kinds of things are you planning for in this coming year?
So we had a sour taste in our mouth after our defeat last year from a very, very good team in Magnificat. I mean, they're very good, well coached, a bunch of good girls that can play. It was a really, really good game, man. Really good game for those who've seen it. They know. I think we were down by about 16, 17 points, maybe 18 points. Came back, took the lead by 1 in the fourth quarter. Just a back and forth by 2 big-time teams, 2 big-time programs. So we haven't been that far here ever at Brush. So we're kind of riding off that right now. We lost some good guards. We lost Brooklyn Vickers. She's at Schoolcraft now. We lost Rihanna Williams, who's at Kentucky State. We also lost our 6'6" big girl. She's at Wabash right now. So we lost some key players, but we picked up key players as well. Picked up Nyla Mason, who's averaged like 30-something points a game in the 8th grade. She's Tati's little sister. Picked up Julia Ferraria. She's really, really good. When people get to see her, they'll see what I mean. And then we return our two top kids, our point guard, Shanari McDowell Isaacs, who I think if you see her, everyone will know that she's very, very talented. Point guard, she makes us go. And probably our I'm hoping future Miss Ohio and Tati Mason. This kid can do it all, inside, outside, big, strong kid. She can bully you down low, she can take you out top. She got a 3-ball, got mid-range, can handle it. Great defense, defends, rebounds. So we have those 2 kids along with Jakaylin Brown, 6'4" in the middle. We have Kiera Shields, who was voted she's our senior, one of our 3 seniors actually. She was voted as a captain yesterday. She'll be starting in the starting lineup with those other 4 big-time kids. So we have our 6th man, Samaya Lyles, point guard coming off the bench, who will probably start anywhere else other than here. She's very, very good. We have Nyree Johnson. And we have some younger kids that's coming up from the JV level. I got about 3 or 4 from JV that have developed, and they're pretty good. So I think we're going to be ready to go. I'm happy about what's going on. We had a great summer, played in about 7 or 8 college shootouts. We played at Cedar Point, and we did really well. Did really well against some stiff competition, tough competition, and I think that's what it's all about. So we're stacked. Our schedule is stacked for the 8th straight year. We got Falls. We got Hoban. Right out the gate, we got Hoban, Magnificat, Falls. So that's just enough said right there. That's enough for the whole season, right? So
definitely.
And then we got some games. We got about 8 like college tournament type games, classic in the country, classic in the city. So we'll be challenged. So they're downstairs right now, probably watching this. They just got finished practicing, and we're ready to roll, ready to go, see what we can do.
All right, let's turn it over to Orange coach LaShawn Brown. LaShawn, thank you for being with us tonight. We talked a little bit before this started. I think the record was somewhere around 11-13 last year. And so can you give us a little feel for what is coming up or what you expect, who might be a leader on your team this year?
Excited to have Rachel Oberster, our senior, coming back this year. Last year, she was out 6 games. She should have hit 1,000 points last year, so she would definitely hit it this year. We lost her 6 games with the ankle injury, so we're looking for big things for her. We have some up-and-coming players, Courtney Norton. She's stayed in the gym all summer, and she worked out, and she's doing well. Lancia Bass, one of our other seniors, very quick, worked on her shot this summer, likes to steal the ball and lay it up. and also looking forward to a freshman, Jada. Looking for some big things from her. Don't want to put too much pressure on her, but very talented freshman.
Okay. All right, and now we'll turn it over to Andy O'Keefe. Andy, with CVCA, you guys had a great season last year, 20-5, I believe. You were in a different conference, so this year it's all about being in a new conference. Can you give us some insight into what that transition will be like?
Yes, we were in the PAC last year, and now we're in the North Coast Conference, newly formed conference. So with some talented teams, and right out the gate we opened up with Elyria Catholic, which they were in our district last year, playing against Streetsboro, and as well we had a sour taste in our mouth at the end of the year. Went down to Norton, so looking to make some noise in the tournament this year and get back to it. We bring all of our girls back from last year, so they've worked hard this off season, and we got Joy Williams leading the pack. She's our point guard and shooting guard, and going to Merrimack, so she's outstanding player. We have some big girls inside, and Hunter Gwynn and Sophia. They both do a great job. And we have 6 seniors. We had, right before that Norton game, one of our seniors went down, tore ACL. She's been working hard, and hopefully will be back later on in the season. So, but we have a nice group, and they're all working really hard this year, and excited for the new conference, and see how it goes.
So you mentioned Elyria Catholic. Are there a couple others in there that you guys got to do some studying on because they haven't been a part of your schedule?
Yeah, so it's off the top of my head, it's Elyria Catholic, Beaumont, Lake Catholic, Holy Name, NDCL, and Padua, I think, and then us. I think those are the 7.
Okay.
So, yeah, we'll have to do a little bit of research, and because we're used to playing, Northwest and Triway and Tuslaw, and but we have a tough out-of-conference schedule as well. Playing a couple Federal League teams, and so it'll be good. It'll be good.
All right, so now we'll move on to the Lutheran East Falcons. Coach James Brooks. James, thanks for being here with us tonight. I think, if I'm not mistaken, you're independent like we are at Brush, right?
Correct.
So that brings some different challenges there in terms of filling out those 22 games. Right. But last year you guys finished, I think, 13-9, if I read that right. So what went well for you last year, and what are you looking to improve upon as you come into this season?
Well, what went well for us last year was that we were fairly young, but those players got a lot of varsity experience, and that's transitioning into this year. For the last couple of years, you hear Lutheran East, you think of Taylor Haynes, great kid. She's moving on to Defiance College and playing, but with her absence allows those younger kids that I just previously mentioned, primarily Dakota Porter and Janae Smith, to really flex their leadership muscle or to grow in those roles. We're currently relying on veteran leadership from Denasia Woodard and Naya Beckway, who have 4 years of varsity experience. Denasia's been a starter on the varsity level for about 3 years. And with that group, our core is fairly young, but I'm super excited about them, particularly sophomore Milana Martin, who's expanded her game over the offseason. We have an incoming freshman, Jatavia Caldwell. She's 5'9", could defend 1 through 5, very raw, but she's an active learner, and she comes in and she comes to compete. But that's what we're relying on. So we're going to go as far as those kids take us, and I believe that they put in the work and they're attentive enough to know what's going on around them and to keep building and growing.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Now let's move to your right, where we have Mr. Ron Donaldson, Coach Ron Donaldson of the Trinity Trojans. Last year, real good year for you guys, if I recall. 16-8, 10-2 in the conference. And I think those 2 losses were against a very tough Cuyahoga Heights team.
For sure.
So seems like everybody here has their conference foes who are trying to knock at them a little bit. Obviously, that was a great year. Where do you go from here?
Well, we made it to the district championship. That was like the first time since 2008. So we're building. We were super young last year. We lost one senior. We have everybody returning. Really excited about the group. They've been working hard. We've been running hills through the summertime. We've been really putting in the work. I'm just excited to see how they mature. I told them I don't want to be on them as much as I have been in the past. I want to be less vocal and just kind of, just watch them kind of be more vocal. But we have all-district player, Anaya Charlton coming back, Nevaeh Harrison, who should be an all-district selection as well, Janiah Campbell, and then we have 5 juniors that's really good, Isis Freeman, Nyla Thornton, Charity. We pretty much have 2 starting 5s. So we're super competitive in practice. They're challenging each other. We have 2 great freshmen that came in as well. So we're just excited. We're ready to kind of get to work and showcase what we've been working on.
Okay. And now we move on to Jordan Eaton. Coach Eaton of the Olmsted Falls Bulldogs. We appreciate you coming out with us tonight. All we have to talk about with you is the state championship, so I don't know where we go from there. But anyway, so you were ranked 2nd, I believe, in the state last year, even being a state champion because of the division layout and all of that, which is amazing. And the thing that I liked about it was the year before you were runner-up, and you came back to finish the job. So now that you are at the peak, what do you do to coach this team and to show them how much this year and is so different than last year?
Well, that's a very good question. We are working really hard to fill 5 seniors that graduated. They were really great communicators, and we're working at that right now. And we're not far away, but we're definitely emphasizing that right now and trying our best to just become a better group overall when it comes to, being organized and communicating with each other in practice, and then obviously in scrimmages right now. So overall, I really like the group. We have 10 dressed on varsity right now, which is a little bit lower than we normally have, but all 10 of them are kids we really, really like. And they're growing every single day. And our volleyball team made a great run in the tournament, and they were able to get to the regional final, and that just ended Saturday. So 4 of our players, 4 of our 10 were on that team. So we got them all back this week. So it's kind of like our first week, and we're a little rough around the edges at the moment, but we're really working to smooth that out. And the group has a lot of potential, definitely. And it's going to be up to them as whether or not they're going to achieve that. And us, our coaching staff believes that we could be extremely good and we could be elite, and we just have to work as hard as we can to get there.
From a non-coach, which is what I am, I have to ask you this question. Now that you've climbed the total summit and reached the top, how do kids react to that today? Are they hungry for another championship, or do you feel like they could possibly become a little pacified with that?
Well, they better be hungry for another one. I believe we are. The team that was able to win last year trusted a lot of things, even when they didn't seem like they were working. So there's 5 girls back from that team who played a lot of minutes last year, 3 more who were on the team in practice and really contributed in practice. And so there's a large group of them that know what it takes, and I believe they have the ability to trust each other, and they've seen that trust pay off, even in times when, they're like, Coach, this isn't going so well. So overall, I think they're really hungry. We as a coaching staff, when we went and lost, I remember thinking to myself just upon walking into the arena, this can't be the last time we get here. So we're hoping to get back.
Okay. And now we turn over to Kevin McNamara. Coach, you are in an interesting situation. You finished, I think, right around 500 last year, if I remember right, but you're in a tough conference with, I think, both of these gentlemen, right, are in that conference. So you have your work cut out for you. What are the types of things you're trying to focus on while knowing there's great competition out there against you?
Yeah, some people get the choice of who they get to play, and I get to play these guys 4 times. Last year we took our lumps in the first half of the season. I started 4 freshmen, and we had lost games probably by an average of 20 to 25 points a game. In the second half of the year, after Paul beat me by 30, we were winning it by 4 at halftime. And so I think the area of growth that we look for, while we didn't get that game, it was a marked measurement for us to take that last year's challenge of just get better every day. And there's no question about going into the playoffs, we felt that we were more in control of who we were than we were in the beginning of the year. This year we'll have 1 senior, 1 junior, 6 or 7 sophomores on varsity, and 1 freshman. So again, you know, the core of our kids seem to be younger, and it has to come with the same sort of, we don't get a choice of who we get to play, but when we did choose outside the conference this year, we're playing in the Classic in the country, lucky enough to get in there. We're playing Toledo Notre Dame. You know, we've got some challenges locally into our schedule across the board from Brunswick and Westlake, who have some nice teams, to where, you know, we are not looking just to get that win. We're looking to continue to advance. So we're a lot farther ahead than we were last year, and our goal is to be better by the time we're finished.
All right, thank you, sir. Coach Paul Apple of Avon Lake, welcome here.
Thank you.
19-5 last year, I think, 11-3. Obviously, we've talked a little bit about this conference already, but I would like to have your thoughts on where you go from here. I think you ended up 12th in the state, something like that. Great resume coming into the season. Are the players looking forward to seeing if they can raise that bar even a little higher?
Yeah, we had a very solid year last year. Really played well in some big moments. We're able to win some big games, but like anything, we always want to achieve more. And I think, you know, we're returning 4 of our top 6 who were big minute people for us last year, and I've seen, you know, we had two seniors this year who a year ago didn't express much interest in playing college basketball, and over the last 12 months have changed and are looking to do that. And that's inspiring and exciting for them, of their interest in everything, and it's helped push our team forward. We have a very good sophomore class who's kind of making their way up to the varsity level of committed kids. So we're excited to see the energy that we've had so far in the gym. But you know, it's November 7th, 8th, whatever it is. It's a long road away. So we just, like the other guys said, we just want to keep getting better, and we're doing everything we can, playing as good a competition as we can out of the league. And again, our league is always strong too.
Okay. So I appreciate everybody's looking at the crystal ball to see what might be coming down the road a little bit. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit here and just ask some different types of questions. Coach Apple, we're going to kind of go in reverse order now, if you don't mind. I would like to know, when your playing career ended, when your athletic days were over, when was it and what was it that made you decide, you know what, I think I want to coach. I think I want to be associated with sports on that level?
Yeah, so I kind of had an interesting path, I guess. You know, I went to college. I went to Michigan State, and I decided that I wanted to try to be the water boy for Michigan State's basketball team. And little did I know that there were 50 other guys who were obsessed with Michigan State basketball that wanted to do the same thing. So kind of from that, I didn't get that job and worked into just start working youth camps and around there. My father started an AAU program at one point, so I got back. As soon as I came back, I grew up in Westlake. I started coaching on the boys' side right away there, and I'd always coached girls AAU, and about halfway through my time at Westlake, I moved over, started doing some stuff with the girls' side, and really just enjoy it. And couldn't imagine anything else coaching-wise. It's just really fun to get to know all the kids and see the kids as they grow up and get older and develop and keep those relationships.
And now that you've been at this for a while, what is it that you think makes for a good, solid basketball coach at the high school level, but maybe anywhere?
Yeah, I think at the high school level and every level, you have to enjoy working with kids. You gotta really love going to practice every day. I mean, that's the numbers in basketball are probably dropping a little bit, and I think part of it is we start October 25th, and so you're going through through from October 25th until middle of February into almost March at times. That's a lot of times where you're getting to school and then you leave school after practice. It's dark outside, and so you have to bring that energy every day. And you got to create an environment that kids enjoy coming to. Those are really important things. There's a lot of options for kids to do nowadays, and you got to just make it fun, and you got to have fun yourself with them. And that's really the biggest thing. And then just building relationships and working with the kids to find out how we can help them achieve their goals together, because our biggest goal is for them to achieve their goal, whether they're on the court or off the court.
Very good. Coach McNamara, my question for you would be, in terms of your strengths as a coach, what do you think your biggest strength is that you bring to the job that you now have?
Yeah, I think any team has a coach that team reflects who the coach is. Some guys are more laid back. I'm more of an intense guy. I'm going to bring that energy. I'm going to preach to bring the energy. I think for us, being a smaller team, younger team, that we have to play physical and fast. And I don't represent either one of those fast or physical modes right now. But when I was in high school, I was that kid who averaged probably 2 points a game. But I got it every rebound, every loose ball, set every screen. Guys like Eaton loved me because I would set them up for success all the time. And I think that's what you got to do. But if you get to embrace and live your culture, and for us, we have different things that we talk about every year and how it reflects. And I take these in my everyday life. And outside of high school basketball, I'm very fortunate to be surrounded by some serious young women who want to play basketball. And I've gathered and learned from them as much as I hope that they have taken from me. But the reality is that and one of our things that we're talking about this year is how you do anything is how you do everything. There's a great commencement speech, and it included that. And I take it away. We watch it every year. But for us, we just spoke about it today, and I think for me as a coach in my preparation for the season, whether it's getting ready for these two or others in our conference, and then a non-conference schedule, Paul touched it. The grind is real. The freshmen hit a wall. Everybody doesn't like basketball at a certain point because it's not going their way. It's an incredibly difficult skill sport where other sports are easier to play. You don't have the physical contact, right? So I think as a coach, I got to get them to buy into what it is. And when you can motivate and then demonstrate where it can work and how it can work and how you can relate to them, that's the biggest part of, the greatest thing you can do as a coach. But for us is how you do anything is how you do everything. And for me, like I'm 57, these girls are 15, 14, we got nothing in common, right? I remember watching Paul play. His father is a friend of mine. And so I'm at the back end of what I'm doing here, but I promise you that there isn't anybody in the gym who's outworking me in the way we prep and prepare, and I think that's what I have to do for my team.
So along that line then, especially with high school, teams change all the time, from when somebody's a freshman until the time they're a senior. So my question would be, as teams change in what they are specializing in, do you try to change your system to fit them, whatever they might bring to the table, or do you try to make that group year after year fit into what you'd want to play?
No, I mean, you have to be a chameleon. As soon as we lose the players, we have to figure out what's best fit. We're not blessed as a team with height, so we have to be fast and physical. And the more we can get kids to adopt in, to buy into what they want to do, that can be disruptive for a team who's maybe doesn't like that type of style or tempo. And I think you have to prepare for it, right? I think the big thing for us is when we're looking and we know we have to play falls, we have great respect. These guys are friends of mine, and I love playing against them. And it's why, because I know that they work hard and they were getting their kids ready to play that game. But I can't change who we are based upon who we're playing. I have to remain committed to understanding that I believe my experience is putting us in the best spot. Now, how we work in that and how we can compete with that, that's a whole different game. We're fortunate that we didn't lose people that'll affect that. And we're so young, but I think the other part of it is for us is getting the buy-in against who you're playing. We played Mags last night. We scrimmaged them. They're huge. They have 3 girls over 6 foot who can all play. We're running our biggest girl at 5'8" on the floor. But you have to disrupt that tempo because if they're big, they're probably not fast. And so, as a coach, I'm sure everybody here has to do what they feel is right for the strengths of their team.
Okay. Coach Eaton, two-part question a little bit here. Number one, how do you cultivate team unity in that locker room? And also, since you have been at this for a number of years, what do you think is the most important thing about being a high school coach today as opposed to maybe a decade ago or even longer?
Well, the first part, to try to cultivate team unity, all of our coaches on our coaching staff loved basketball because it was a team sport, and it was one of the ultimate team sports where everybody can contribute. So we just try to find ways to make sure everybody knows how to contribute. And sometimes that's talking to kids about roles, but other times that's talking to kids about what are you going to bring positive to practice, whatever it may be. So that's one major thing we try to do, just to make sure everybody feels involved. And sometimes it can be hard for a kid who, maybe is younger or doesn't play that much to feel that involved, but we work pretty hard at helping them feel that way. And then as far as coaching now and then, well, in the past I've heard a lot that kids are different now. I don't really believe that. I think we treat kids a little bit differently, and we kind of let them off the hook on some things sometimes when we shouldn't, or we kind of accept things that we shouldn't sometimes. And if you can find the right way to hold kids accountable, you can coach basketball the same way that, old school type coaches coach kids. And it's funny, we had a joke about me being old school in our practice today, so if our kids are watching, they'll think that's funny, but because they don't think I am, but it's the truth. So overall, I just think that if you stay true to who you are, you don't have to worry too much about the differences in kids anymore. As long as you always have the kids' best interest in mind, we believe that they're going to have a great experience in our basketball program.
Okay. Coach Donaldson, so my question for you would be, what, if I said this right, what do you say on the first day of practice when you've got the team assembled there and you got another fresh year in front of you? Is there something you fall back on year after year, or does that change year after year?
The expectations are always the same, is to be as lead as possible and to be better than the last year. And just on platforms like this, I want to make sure I acknowledge certain players. Kenora Bryant, who's like one of our best leaders on our team, super coachable. I use her as a prime example on how we need to come to practice every day. She allows me to coach her hard. She listens, good body language, does everything that you want, a player to be and do. Jayla Wiggins, Isabella Dorsey, Kendall Hughes, these are players that's always committed. So I make sure I give them everything that I have. And I tell them every day, like, I have to bring it no matter what I have going on in my personal life. And we all deal with things. I mean, we've had probably about 4 different instances with death, a murder, just a lot of different personal things going on. And I think the biggest thing is just them knowing that I'm there for them. And it's bigger than basketball. I know it's cliche, but it really is bigger than basketball. It's always family. I greet them every morning with, hey, family, whatever message I'm bringing them for the day. But that's, I think, the main important thing, that we're family first, and everything else will fall in line with that.
We live in a culture, I think I'm right in saying this, when we all played ball, it seemed like a lot of athletes played 2, 3, maybe even 4 sports. And now it seems like we're in a much more specialized area where kids are dedicating a lot of their time to that one sport. What do you think, and what do you say to a player who might say, hey, coach, I'm involved with 2 other sports, so you're going to have to hang on for a bit?
That's my entire team. We have the Division III state champion in track, Anaya Charlton. We have Kenora Bryant, who is a wrestler, and then we have like maybe 7 volleyball players. So I was a multi-sport athlete, so I'm an advocate for that because it helps you, and it all intertwines. It all helps you, and you never know what you're going to be great at. So play everything and just figure out what kind of end up working for you.
Okay, let's move on to Coach. As far as your opinion of youth sports and how much they mean to a high school program, can you talk a little bit about that?
Repeat that question one more time. I'm sorry.
Just about the concept of youth sports and how important that is to sort of keep the pipeline filled or try to teach them young the same type of thing they might be getting at the high school level?
I think it's very important. Coming up where I played at in inner city Cleveland, like community was very important. I played at East High School and growing up, just seeing people from your neighborhood, former alumni there, supporting the current players, it was a great thing. And here at Luther and East, I'm starting to see that more. Even, when we attend the boys basketball games, you see former alumni. We're getting more alumni on the women's side coming back, giving back. So that is just like a beautiful thing for me to see. So in terms of youth sports, as they get, it's hard at times because there are so many kids playing multiple sports and things of that nature. It's kind of, you don't want to tell them like, hey, just come, participate in this one sport. But I think youth sports is great because I think sports is a metaphor for life. A lot of things I've learned in sports applies to my life, and things that apply to life apply to sports. So that's how I kind of approach everything.
Well, that's a great segue, because the thing I was going to follow up with is, aside from teaching the X's and O's and all the strategies on the court, what else do you think you can sort of fill the kids with as the season is playing out? Are there life lessons that you can teach them?
Oh, absolutely. I always in practice telling them no 2 good days are alike and no 2 bad days are alike. We're all adults and there's external factors. And I'm able to compartmentalize what I have from work when I come to coaching, vice versa, in other aspects of life. So I try to teach them those things and to be in the moment. I said one day, I always joke when I said one day you ladies gonna wake up and be 25 years old and look at where did the time go. So my message to them a lot is create memories. I want to see them when they're, have their families and they're professionals, entrepreneurs, or whatever their future endeavors are. They could come back and look and say, hey, Luther and East, remember we went on this run, remember this game, or remember the time Coach Brooks did this and this happened. And so those are the life lessons I tend to preach every day to them, like be in the moment, create memories.
Okay. Coach O'Keefe, question for you would be, do you, as you look at how you prepare mentally, emotionally, spiritually for a game, is it the same attitude you take into a practice? How does that differ between an everyday practice and game night?
Yeah, good question. I think it comes back to, for all of our programs, we have core values, and the things that you emphasize. For us, our 2 core values are I am third and selfless. So I am third is God first, others second, yourself third. And selfless is just living with humility, playing together, and we look for service opportunities to do as a team. Helps bond the girls, and also just takes the focus off of yourself. I think we approach every day that way in practice. We have a team talk every day, and I ask them, how you guys feeling? Are we ready to go? And then games, we have a focus for the game, and that ties into our devotional time. And I really enjoy coaching at a school where I can live out my faith. And I teach at Stowe, and I've coached at Stowe, and it's nice to be at a place where you can go and just be with fellow believers that are pursuing the same things, and so that's what we look to do.
How do you handle a situation of a player, if you've ever had to do this, of a player who all of a sudden is not getting the playing time that they once did and feels that maybe they should? How do you handle that situation so that it doesn't become a distraction to the rest of the team?
I think the first thing there is to understand that that's hard. And have that conversation with that player, and have that just that understanding of this is, you can't just throw at them and say, well, you just have to do it. You just have to do it for the team. This is what you do for it's hard. That's a hard thing. I mean, girls want to start. They want to play. They want to, they want to score. They want to have their name announced. They want to have their name in the paper. These are all human things, that it's our culture. It's, you know, things that we pursue, and it's those are, you know, winning and stuff like that stuff is pursuits, you know, and at the end of the day, it comes back to, you know, your purpose. But what is your purpose? You know, and our purpose goes back to our core values, and I think we have those conversations about roles and making sure every girl feels valued and has a role on the team. And you know, my seniors, they're doing a great job. I got 6 seniors, and we have a lot of hungry kids coming up, and so they're bringing them alongside and bringing them under their wing. And you know, it's hard when you're looking over your shoulder, and you know, there's kids competing for time. But we talk about competing to complete one another, you know, as parts of the body in the Bible, and not competing to defeat one another, because we're on the same team. So.
Okay, great answer. Coach, I'd like to ask you your perspective. All of you have done a great job with the ladies' game and elevating it to never before reached levels. Last year, the Final Four came to Cleveland. Do you feel that really affected your program at all? Did it maybe boost some interest in the game at all?
It was great having the Final Four and here in Cleveland. I know I enjoyed it. I think some of the girls on my team enjoyed it. And it was a great experience for me to share with them. At one point in time, I was there at the Final Four and how important it is. And going back from when I played in the Final Four to what's being seen today, and how blessed that the game has developed and the exposure that we're getting, comparing then to now, it's basically the same game. We played the same way. It's just that we're getting more exposure. And my team is also like, because I can share some of the memories that I've had. It was great for some of the girls to connect with some of the players that I played against at North Carolina, who we lost to. And also just some of the former players from around the league and players I played with during the time, you know, in college, just to reconnect with them and actually have them share stories with them. Still keeping in contact with some of my alumni, Venus Lacey, who was an Olympian. You know, she, you know, just her encouraging me to stay with it and also encouraging the girls.
Okay. I'm going to put you on the spot just a little bit here. Can you give us 1 or 2 inspirations in the game that as you were coming up and progressing yourself, just always were there for you to fall back upon?
I go back to high school, went to Cleveland Heights, and my coach used to bring her husband and Coach Burke, and that's how far back we go. Just the push that they would give, because I had to start from the beginning, and they stayed on me to keep going, and to keep working at my game. I wasn't always a starter. I was only a starter for 2 years in high school, so, you know, the possibilities there to be able still to go Division I and not have to start 4 years in college. You just have to work at your game, and they pushed me day after day, night after night, and even through the summers. So my inspiration would be for my high school coach, her husband, and Coach Burke.
Okay, thank you. Coach Winters, you've been around this game long enough to know you've seen multiple vibes in the locker room depending on what's going on. And last year, a lot of that vibe was great because we were running off winning streaks here and there. But when it did all end and you have to face that locker room and kind of tell the kids that's it for this year, like, how do you handle that whole situation when maybe everything's not going perfectly?
That's a great question. So of course every team at the end, unless you win the championship, has lost at the end, right? So unfortunately, I've not won a state championship yet, like my guy, but so I've lost my last game every single year for 12 years, right? So my thing is, now this is over. Now we're back to us being, us being people who love each other in this locker room. The love started from the beginning. The love is still here. I'm not upset. I'm not hollering. I'm not irate. I'm not mad. I'm just happy that we had this ride together. I love you. I respect you. I'm here for you. You're a senior. You're going off. I say this to my seniors a lot. It's kind of a goofy comparison, but I compare the school bus and the RTA, right? I tell my seniors they're going to get on the RTA now. Before you were on the school bus, you had a schedule. They're going to come pick you up right in front of your house. They're going to pull a stop sign out. They're going to stop for you. Everybody has to stop for you to go across the street. We're responsible for getting you there as a school district. Your mom and dad is responsible for getting you up, getting you dressed and everything. Now you're about to be on the RTA, where you got to know exactly where you're going. You got to know when your stop is. Nobody's going to stop. You got to know that red light. They're going to put you off wherever if you don't know where you're going. And you got to kind of figure it out now. You still have a little bit of help, a little bit of assistance, but it's different now. You're kind of out here by yourself. So that's my speech at the end of every year, whether I do it in that game or maybe in the locker room once we're collecting jerseys and all that. So we're just back to being, I'm Coach Winters, right? And again, I'm not, they're used to me being so aggressive and so upbeat and ready to go. And hey, we're gonna go out here and do these different things. And it's not that. It's like, hey, I enjoyed you. I really love you. Like, I really do. Every girl who came through this program and the Richmond Heights program, I still talk to this day. I don't have a bad relationship with any one of my girls. They can always call me. I'll get up at night. I've done so many things because I love these girls. And that's what it's all about. It's not about winning or losing for me at the end of the day. It's about seeing a young lady come into my program one way and them going out another way, whether it's their grades improving, whether it's them improving as a young lady or improving as a player. My biggest thing is to get you to college. I wanted everyone who ever played for me has went to college if they wanted to, whether it's Division I. We got some big time one. Got some kids on TV right now, 4 or 5 of them, right? I got some Division II kids, got some Division III kids that got their grades were great, so they were able to get in. And I had like 1 or 2 kids who didn't want to play, and they're like, "Yo, this is it. Winters ran me to death. I'm done with this. I just want to go be a whatever, and I still help them as well to do that. So that's kind of my speech at the end of the year. It's no hollering and screaming. It's no, it's just really heartfelt moment. Most of them are crying. I know it was a lot of crying last year. I never cried, but I almost did. Dr. Reed, our former superintendent, came in the locker room last year when we lost against Magnificat and told the girls how hard they played and how proud the district is of those girls. And I felt very good about that. And not for me, but I felt good for the girls.
From a coaching perspective, and again, this is something I've never known, but you probably run up against it. Every team, it seems to me, has at least a couple of players who are a standout player, maybe a little bit better, a little bit of a leader, and yet at the same time, you got to treat everybody equally, or else some bad feelings can come up in that locker room. How do you handle that? It's a matter of treating them fairly but not equally, or equally but not fair. Well, not fairly. Of course, everybody's fair there, but I guess how do you handle that? That's a delicate situation, and you want to keep everyone a part of that team, but clearly, some people need a little bit more of a pat on the back, and some need a little bit of a push.
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of goes back to what someone said earlier. Each year is different for us. It's different. If you're going to fall behind if you coach the same way every single year. You're going to fall behind because those are not the same girls. So to answer your question, I've had a lot of that, right? I had some big time girls here, and I had some big time girls sitting in back of them who probably would have started elsewhere. I just said I have a point guard now who will probably start anywhere else. And she's very, very good. She's like our 6th starter. And we've had that conversation for the last 2 years, and she's okay with it. She's good with it, So I think that you have to explain. So first of all, I don't choose. You're going to choose by the way you play on the court, right? You're every day in practice, how you approach practice, what you do, your character, your personality, how hard you work, how quick you pick up things. That's going to determine if you're going to get the playing time or not. Not me. I'm just I'm just going to put you out there, right? So you're going to let me know who to play, right? By your effort and everything else that you're doing in practice and in games. Secondly, I tell my girls, you have to handle hard better. I think I heard that from Duke's women's coach. You got to handle hard better. That's it. We're all going to come up against some things that's going to be very challenging. And as Coach said, it's challenging when you got to sit a girl who you know can play, because you have another girl in front of her that can really, really play. And we've had, through the years, we've had Taylor Johnson Matthews, Asia Nicholson, Danae Frazier. We had White. We had we have some good girls.
Caitlin,
And there were some
yeah.
girls in back of them that could probably play. So I've had this conversation time after time after time. I was just telling Coach that I lose girls at times because other schools tell them, hey, yo, you're not going to play over there. They're loaded. So come on over here and you can start for us, right? And that's okay. I get it. I mean, I understand the game. I definitely do understand it. So I've had those conversations, those tough conversations. Even now, as someone else said again, we have a second starting five. Our second five is really, really good. I mean, we get at it in practice, big time, right? So it's sad. It's a sad thing, but it's not the end of the world. These kids still play hard. I think it's how you communicate with them on what to do, how to handle her hard, what your role is on our team. And right now, this is your role. And if this happens, then you can possibly do this. And my thing is, if you feel like you should play, go take her spot. Go take it. I ain't gonna give it to you. You got to take it though. I'm sure she's not gonna give it to you. You got to go get it. And that propels into what Coach said about competing not to embarrass anyone else, but competing to make us whole. And I like that. I'm going to steal that, just like I stole Max plays the other day at AAU a couple months ago. So I'm going to steal that. I'm going to tell my girls that probably tomorrow. If they see this, then I'm going to repeat it. But I think that's what it's all about. It's about loving them, understanding that we're all equal, but understanding right now this is the five I'm going with at this time, and we all got to buy into that.
Well said, Coach. And I want to thank all of you again. You're all spectacular on the floor with what you do, but I think what you do off the floor is even more magnificent. So hopefully all of you will keep doing that for years and years to come. And thank you for coming out here tonight. I know it's not always easy on a Thursday night to be here, but look forward to watching you guys on Saturday, most of you anyway, and all of you throughout the season. So best of wishes. Coach, did you have anything you want to wrap up with?
I just want to thank everybody. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you for coming out. I know it's tough, like you said, on a Thursday night, and you have practice, and you got to get up in the morning. So I thank you. I truly appreciate you coming out to be part of our preview and a part of this panel. And hopefully I get all you guys back next year, plus more. And good luck. Stay injury-free. Stay coaching hard. Stay coaching great, as you all are. And don't beat me too bad when you go against me. Just let me get a couple points, man. All right. Thank you, guys.